touchdown. And he flips the ball to Rowdy to do with what he will.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a late night edition of the Waiver Wire Show as we are moving ahead to week 4, where we're going to find some pickups to add to your team right now this week, where everyone is trying to get him next week. Okay? That's a huge point of emphasis, and I just thought of that on the fly, not like it's some genius point, but when it comes to these waiver wire shows, guys, we're trying to get a week ahead. If you notice, a lot of the popular names, and I'm tooting my own horn a little bit here, but a lot of the popular names that we're talking about this week on all waiver wire shows. You're probably listening to more than one waiver wire show if you're, a fantasy fan out there. You're listening to whoever. Everybody's got their guys. I'm not the only one you listen to, as I always say. The guys that they're talking about, we already talked about. We already talked about Trey Tucker. We already talked about Bryce Young. We already talked about Geno, even though Geno wasn't all that, exciting. We already talked about what's his name? Trey Benson. I can't believe that's even considered for a waiver wire pickup. The fact that he fell to some waivers. Okay. We've been talked about all those guys. Those guys are not new players. We might as well just get right into it because this isn't supposed to be a long show, considering that you guys are already on the brisk of putting your claims in it, on the brink, I should say, of putting your claims in. We start off every single waiver wire show we should just call this the shame on you segment. If these guys are on your waiver wire, shame on you. Find a new league. Find a serious league, guys. Okay, and I'm going to use my home league waiver wire as an example because this is not the sharpest league ever. This is a very, these guys are fans of fantasy, but they're not sharp by any means. So most of these guys didn't slip through, but a lot of these guys did. Only a small handful of these guys slipped through the cracks, but a lot of the guys that are talked about this week are available on waiver wire. So let's get into the shame on you segment. Since we just mentioned him, let's start off with the obvious, even though there's no way he should be on waiver wires. Over 50% rostered, so we'll keep it brief. You guys are probably not even having a chance with this guy, but Trey Benson, Connor's out for the year. Benson's going to be the workhorse. He's already shown that he could be a workhorse. He's 6'0", 220, runs a 4.4. This guy was drafted in the second round. He was supposed to have this role last year. We were big on him in the offseason for best ball. Due to scenarios like this that could possibly happen, we knew James Conner, and no harm when I say this, nothing personal. We knew he was going to break down eventually. That's just the truth. With the way he runs, he's very contact heavy, and he has a injury history in the early on part of his career, but throughout his time in Arizona, he's been tough as nails, and he really hasn't gotten hurt. But it finally caught up to him. And look, I'm not victory lapping, go yeah, whatever, because that's just cruel. I don't cheer for people's injuries, but it's a huge opportunity for Trey Benson. If he's somehow on your waiver wires, just throw your whole budget out there. I don't care. You don't find a workhorse running back on waivers very often. We've been saving for opportunities like this. We really haven't. If you guys have been following this waiver show, aside from Juwan Johnson, we really haven't been aggressive on anybody so far. That's just the God honest truth. There really hasn't been anyone that we've been aggressive on. So if Trey Benson's out there, absolutely be aggressive on him. Another guy that there's no way this guy should be out there. Now he's finally over 50% rostered with Basil Tootin. If he is somehow on your waiver wires, guys, this is another guy I would bid at least half the bankroll on at this point. Back-to-back games with touchdowns. This guy showed, even with this little snap count right here, that if this ever gets up to 40%, this guy's going to be a big-time RB2 going forward. He's already in the top 40 of running backs. No, we've already talked about him way too much. There's no way Basil Tootin should be on waiver wire. So let's make this the last time we talk about him. And then another running back that we've already talked about last week, still 19% rostered. How is Woody Marks not more than 19% rostered? He's 50% of the snaps. This guy's going to basically be, dare I say, an Austin Eckler type back for the Texans. And I know the Texans offense is garbage, but Nick Chubb, we know what he is. He's a between the tackles runner at this point of his career. Still a stud, but, just doesn't have that same juice that he once had due to the injuries. And Woody Marks is that young guy with the satellite pass catching ability that's going to step in and be a comfort So I sort of, I guess, in a sense, a safety blanket for C.J. Stroud. And down the line, as the season goes along, he has the ability to sort of take over as the RB1 in his backfield. I mean, Nick Chubb, we know, he's 30 years old at this point of his career. He's in year number 7, year 8. I mean, I think it's year number 7, but, it's been a long time for Chubb. I mean, he's on the back end of his career. Who's to say, I mean, that he holds up, Just throwing it out there. I mean, it's not if this is only a PPR play, because if Woody Marks in a standard, you're really not getting much, but I'm looking at this number right here on the targets and the receptions to increase to about 3 to 4 per game. And considering that this Houston Texans offense is garbage, I mean, Stroud basically is a check down quarterback at this point. I mean, the only deep ball he threw last week was Nico running down the sideline wide open. I mean, it's kind of sad to see how much he's regressed, but I think Woody Marks is going to be a guy that'll play benefit to that. Let's move on. Let's move on to receivers that are shame on you type guys. If he's out there, shame on you. If Alec Ayominor is still out there, he's finally at 50% roster. But if he's still out there in your league, shame on you. There's no way he should be on waivers, guys. I mean, there's no way if you're listening to the show. This is for our first-time listeners, basically. I mean, if you listen to the show, we were on him in the off season. I mean, I talked about this guy as a potential, wide receiver 2 in the off season. Week 1, we said after week 1 we said bid $20 at least to go get this guy. So he should be off the waivers long gone at this point if you've been listening to the show. But for a first-time listener out there, I mean, 15, 13, these numbers are going to only increase. He's on the field still. I mean, he could run even. He could have even more volume, and he's still productive. Back-to-back games with touchdowns. Go get Alec Ayominor if he's somehow on your waiver wires. Doubt he is at this point. And then another guy, we'll go wrap up the tight ends. I mean, Juwan Johnson we're not going to talk about because there's no way he's on waiver. What is Juwan Johnson's ownership? Yeah, he's 83, so it's not even worth mentioning. Fannin, coming off sort of a mediocre game, but if still worth a pickup. If he's out there, go get him. And then another guy who he slipped through the cracks in my league, but Hunter Henry. He had a 1-point game. A lot of people dropped him. 29-point bounce back versus the Steelers. That won't happen again, but at the very least, he's the most trusted target for Drake May. I think that's pretty clear. His numbers last year were up, down, so it kind of makes sense. As a backup tight end, I think he'd be perfect. If you're down bad, you need a starting tight end. I think he'd be okay. It's just we can't get consistent targets with anybody in this Patriots receiver room, which is really annoying. But Hunter Henry, I mean, at this point, I mean, that's a player that you got to bid a lot of money for if you want him. I mean, he's a 3rd tight end overall. And when you look at your tight end waiver wire at this point, assuming Fannin and Johnson are gone, you're talking about Dutch Schultz, who's a bum, Freiermuth, who's Ingram's a bum, Komet, he'll be okay now that Loveland's hurt. Cade Otton's been a shocker to me. Put up 2 donuts. That's just something that's, with this sort of snap count, you can't have. Playing 60 snaps and you having a donut. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. So really not looking at much. I mean, if Henry's out there, I suggest you go get him. So that's pretty much, I mean, for guys that are like shame on you. That's pretty much that. Now let's get into the guys that aren't so shame on you. These are the guys that are sort of the consensus standard, players out there. I guess we'll start off in order. We'll go quarterbacks first. Talk about Geno real quickly. We already talked about Geno. I mean, at the very least, I mean, he's going to have pretty much a game script. I mean, he probably won't have 26 points, but he'll have a game script like he did last week. The Raiders, I think it's clear they're not going to be that good of a team. He's going to be behind. He's going to be throwing in garbage time. And it's a corny way to pick up fantasy points, but, at the same time, it's something that you definitely have to take into account for. And if they're going to be down like that, that's going to be a lot of throwing, which is a lot of fantasy points for Geno. The rushing upside isn't really there for him at this point of his career, but he was able to take some downfield shots late and they converted into 26 points. So going against the Bears this week, I think is a great matchup. I mean, the Cowboys really didn't get a chance to expose the Bears, I think, with their own injuries. So the Bears secondary isn't very good, to say the least. They have a lot of injuries on the back end. So Geno should be, he should be a solid play versus the Bears. I mean, if you need a spot start this week. Aside from Geno, honestly, the only guy I could really give you. I mean, we talked about Bryce Young, but Jackson Dart's going to start. I'm not really expecting much out of him, but if you want to take a flyer on Jackson Dart, be my guest. I don't know what the rushing upside is. That's something I'm a little, when I watched him in Mississippi, I saw an okay athlete. So we'll see what his rushing upside is. I mean, this Giants offense is still garbage. I mean, a lot of people are going to blame Sierra's husband, and he definitely deserves a fair share of the blame. But I mean, how do you go 3 quarters without getting the ball to Malik Neighbors? Not a screen, not a slant, not just a stop route, nothing. It took you 3 quarters to get the ball to Malik Neighbors. That's insane. I mean, that's just terrible play calling, terrible coaching. I don't even know how the hell that's possible. So that's the kind of offense. That's the kind of offense he's going into. On top of the, turnstile offensive line, and Tracy's gone, so their running back is just going to be Scatterbo. So it's a whack offense, to say the least. But it's a young first round pick. There's upside there. I mean, the guy could be Justin Herbert for all we know, but I doubt it. I'm not. I mean, my college profile review on him, I was just kind of blah. I mean, I thought he was better than Shadur, but it's not really saying much. I didn't think he was anywhere near Cam Ward, but we'll see what the guy got. I mean, I'm kind of like wait and see. I don't really need a quarterback, but if you need a backup quarterback, go ahead, take an upside swing. Guy I'd rather have an upside swing though is Bryce Young, who 30-0. Only had 11 points just because they were running the ball so well, but he had a rushing touchdown. I think there's some small rushing upside with Bryce Young, and I just think the past 2 games you saw him get a little bit better. This could very easily turn around. New England, Miami, Dallas, Jets. That's a pretty favorable schedule for Bryce Young coming up. And he was a guy I picked a decent amount in best ball as a backup quarterback to pop. I'm still riding with Bryce Young. I like the talent a lot. The only thing that you can't change about him is his height, but I think there's talent there. I just think that Carolina did him dirty, man, and he's they finally have some sort of a offense around him. They really need another receiver. I mean, Jatavion Sanders is now hurt. They need to get Jalen Coker back because that's pretty much the only other guy they have. I mean, Leggette's really the only receiver they have right now. So that's something that's in the way. But with this favorable schedule, really this Miami Dallas, I mean, that's probably the best 2 defenses that you could face for fantasy right now. I mean, go ahead and go grab this guy. See what you got. And if you're down bad for backup quarterbacks, I mean, I want no part of C.J. Stroud. I want no part of Sunshine. Carson Wentz, he had a good game last week, but he's still a bum. Stafford, you would think would be rosterable, but you look at his point total, and it just isn't that good. And there's no rushing, 0 rushing whatsoever. Tua's trash. Darnold, I mean, I'm not really feeling Darnold. If you guys want to pick him up, go ahead. But to me, Darnold's best games are what you saw right here. When he only throws the ball 20 times, he doesn't turn the football over. He takes a couple deep shots and then keeps everything in front of him. That's not really big-time fantasy value. So even in his best game, still 16 points. Not a high ceiling with Darnold. So if anything, he's a spot start at best. But that's pretty much it with quarterbacks. You guys should be covered for the most part in quarterback. You should have at least one. Unless you guys were, you were betting your whole quarterback room on Sunshine or betting your whole quarterback room on Stroud or Michael Penix or something like that, then you're screwed. But I mean, we kind of suggested if you either go elite quarterback or you take 2 quarterbacks in the late rounds. And so most people chose the latter, including myself, so you should be okay. All right, let's get over to running backs. Number one guy running backs, aside from Trey Benson, Woody Marks, Tootin, Guys they're already off the waivers in this league, but a lot of them. I mean, guys, another guy we should talk about for shame on you, Tyler Algiers is still not 50% rostered. I mean, I know he had 1 point last week, guys, but get this guy on your freaking team. He's the handcuff to the number one running back in fantasy. Okay, if anything happens to Bijan, this guy is a must start. Go get him. Okay, I know it's not sexy to have on the bench, but I mean, just look at the spike value in Trey Benson. Okay, Trey Benson. I was high on Trey Benson even with Connor because I thought there would be a split. That's just me personally, but the reason we're talking about a lot of waiver wire shows are talking about him today because he's out there because a lot of your dumb league mates, oh, he's boring, he's not getting no volume, throw him on the bench. Not thinking long term, what if? And I know you're basically holding a spot, but in a sense, you could win a league on something like that. That could literally win you a league. Okay, the guy that has him in this league, he's down. He's like a bad 1-2. His one win was like versus like a 100-point win. Okay, this guy's team was in the gutter. Trey Benson getting that boost is going to elevate his team into the top 6 teams easily. Okay, it's a huge, huge, huge game changer if something like that can happen to your team. So I'm the opposite. I want to stash Algiers. I want to also stash Blake Corum, guy we talked about last week, who's still getting some sort of volume, with Kyron there. 8 carries this past week, 50 yards. I mean, it's not a starter, but it's not bad whatsoever. He's climbing near the top 40. And what do you think this guy would be if Kyron got hurt? And again, we're not wishing injury. I want to make that clear. I'm not wishing injury, but we're just thinking, let's start thinking like this could happen to anybody. So that's really, this is the whole concept of zero RB. You stash guys like this, like Blake Corum, and you're looking at a league winner if this guy got 20 touches a game. Okay, so I'm not the guy that is like screw them if they're not getting volume. I'm thinking long term. I mean, look, I was a person last year that I held Blake Corum literally the entire season. I mean, I held him even though he didn't do crap for me, just because of that hope, that what if. Another guy we'll talk about. Make sure he's on. He shouldn't be on the waivers. Ollie Gordon. Finally starting to see last week. I mean, Buffalo was a good matchup, but 9 carries last week. Had a goal line touchdown. He's starting to get involved in somewhat of a split with A-Chain. They know they can't have A-Chain out there 100% of the plays. You just can't do that. You're going to wear the guy down and he's going to get hurt. And he's supposed to be a guy that's going to take some workload off of A-Chain. And God forbid, I mean, we know A-Chain can get hurt. He's one of the most injury-prone running backs in the league. What if he gets hurt? Miami sucks, but this guy's going to be a huge fantasy player, guys. So do not drop. I'm going to emphasize this again and make Trey Benson the lesson, guys. I mean, nobody listening to the show was dumb enough to drop Trey Benson, hopefully, but let this be a lesson for the rest of the year. Because I guarantee you, I don't know who, but there will be another running back that goes down for the season. Another big name running back will go down for the season. I don't know who. Hope he's not on my team or anyone else's out there that's listening. But truth is, there will be one more that goes down. Guarantee you. We're only in week 4. So we got 8 more weeks at least. 2 more months for someone else to get hurt. And the injury list is like this already. Go figure. That's why we build depth. So get on these guys now. So week 8, 9, 10, people aren't, when they're trying to run to the waiver wire to go get these guys, they're on your team. One more guy we'll talk about who, again, premature. Make sure you guys listen to the Friday show. He was our speculation player of the week. Now he's a number 1 running back pickup that's not the handcuffs. Chris Rodriguez didn't get any receiving work, but he got the most carries out of the backfield, which is interesting. It's like, I'm still torn. It's like this guy, in my opinion, right now, I think he has the most talent out of anyone in the Washington backfield, including Krosky Merritt. What was interesting to me is they basically did the rule of threes, if you want to call it that. They did a 3-way split: 33% Krosky, 33% McNicholas, and 38% Rodriguez. I don't have everyone's snap count in front of me, but basically everyone got a third, and then Mariota got his rushing as well. So Uh, this is really interesting because I thought Merritt was going to go up to 15 touches at least, and he didn't. McNicholas had the most points, but he only had 2 touches. He had that one breakaway run that everyone saw. And Rodriguez had the most touches, but the least points. So I think the fact that he got the most volume, to me, Rodriguez is the best under center back that they have. McNicholas is going to probably be worked in special occasions, and then Krosky Merritt, I guess, is going to be more the every down back. It's a weird split, which is why you're probably only bidding a few bucks on this guy, but I think Rodriguez to me has the most talent in the Washington backfield. That's kind of what I'm banking on right now. Krosky Merritt, I don't think I'm not saying he's bad by any means, but he's a 7th round pick. It's not, I think everyone kind of thought, which is why I was really big on wait and see, because everyone thought, you know, 20 touch role for him right off the bat easily. But even though this guy had the perfect scenario happen, he's still not getting workhorse carries. Rodriguez got more workhorse carries than Krosky Merritt. So I think he's worth the bid out of the Washington backfield. Merritt's already rostered, but I said it last week. I'm going to still stick with it. He's out there. This is probably your last chance to get him. Go get Chris Rodriguez. Throw him on your bench. See what you could do with him. He really, if you listen to the show on Friday, he should already be on your bench on deep leagues. He should have been long on your bench, but number one volume in the backfield. So make sure you get him. All right, that's it. Let's go to move over to receivers. Number one receiver this week, Trey Tucker. He had a 40-point game, and this could very easily just be a spike week where, 40-point week, and the next week he can go right back to having 4 points. He runs a lot of deep routes, and Geno happened to throw a lot of deep balls last week versus the Chargers. He threw a few deep balls, and they got intercepted. So it's really a pick and choose matchup with Trey Tucker. He's definitely not going to be an every week starter. He's probably going to be a wide receiver 5 for you. Number one, kind of like a 6-man type player, if you want to put it like that. So I'm not so sure if I want to bid the house for Trey Tucker as much as I want to. He's a guy that I was on a couple weeks ago as my speculation player, and I guess I could toot my horn on that. But I was the same guy that also, like, after 1 week, I'm like, I dropped. So as great of a game as this is, I don't know how much I really want to spend on Trey Tucker, but he's definitely worth rostering. He's on the field 90% of the plays, so all 3 games, at least that was consistent. I don't know if we're going to see more, intermediate targets for him, short to intermediate, and have him more so he needs a higher floor in receptions. He just doesn't have a high floor in receptions. There is a chance that this 40-point week could be the start of something great. There is a chance. This guy, I believe, is going into his 3rd year. So, this could be a breakout, and we just don't know. He's got great speed. He reminds me, he's kind of a Santana Moss. For you guys out there that are 15, you don't even know what the hell that is. But you guys that are, my age and older, you know exactly who I'm talking about. That's kind of who he could be. That's a high-end projection. I don't think he is Santana Moss, but Santana Moss had a slow start to his career, and then when he got over to Washington, he kind of took off as a player. So he could very easily be that type of player, and we'll see. But I'm more so on the end that this is a spike week type game. Really good matchup. I still like Tucker a lot. I'm still going to bid for him, but I'm not going to give up my entire bankroll for him. So that's kind of where I'm at. How much I bid on him? Join the Discord and find out. Link in the bio. Now, everybody, I got a guy hit me up. What are you doing with the Cowboys receivers? We'll cover that right now. A lot of people out there, they're trying to pick the Cowboys receiver because Lamb's going to be out for the next month or so. A lot of people out there are picking Tolbert. To be honest with you guys, I'm telling you, as a fan, Tolbert to me is just bland. He's in his 4th year. He's in a contract year, but he had an opportunity last year. If you don't remember, he was a wide receiver too last year when Brandon Cooks went down, and that was the perfect role for him because that's all he's never going to be a wide receiver one in the NFL. It's not like he's going to go to some team and just have 1,500 yards and be the wide receiver one. That's never happening. Bet my life on it. Okay. But there's a good chance he could be a wide receiver too. And last year was his opportunity to be a wide receiver too, and he didn't do anything. So why is he going to do something now? I just don't think he. I mean, this is year 4. If you were going to do it, that was the time. So I'm moving on from Tolbert. Turpin gives me a lot more interest. Turpin's got speed. Turpin could be a slot guy. The only problem with Turpin before is he didn't get any volume, but now he's 29 years old, guys, but he's in his 4th year, just like Tolbert. He didn't play in the NFL. He had the domestic violence, and he played to the United States Football League. So he doesn't have a ton of experience. He's now really starting to learn the receiver position and grasp it and take it on and learn the nuances of it and yada yada. He's really just a return man his first couple of years in the league. Last year they finally got him going in the receiver role, and they're like, all right, we might have something here. And this year I think he's finally learned the receiver role. So to me, there's a lot more ceiling with Turpin just because I don't think he's grasped everything just yet. I mean, Tolbert, he's been a receiver his whole life. I just don't think it's a lack of ability with Tolbert. Turpin's got some speed. He's got some juice. He's got some quick cuts. He's got a lot more upside in my opinion. Even at 29 years old, I think there's more upside with Turpin. He's going to be on the field a lot more. He could potentially catch some deep balls due to his speed. As short as he is, I mean, I can see him running a deep post and getting open. I mean, I'm not going to bid. I'm not going to bid heavy on Tolbert at all. I'm probably only going to bid at $2, $3, just because I'm not. I think there's better options out there that we could talk about. But if you want my pick of the Cowboys receivers, I'm going to go with Kevontae Turpin. Now, my top pick of this week for receivers is Luther Burden. Luther Burden, guys, was a player that he was 100 overall, around that ballpark, maybe 110 overall on best ball. 11th round pick. He got dropped in a lot of leagues because there was just no production, but we finally saw a glimpse of production on limited snap count. And this is where we talk about, the post-bye rookie bump. A lot of coaches, when they go into the bye week, they're going to look over their snap counts. They're going to do extensive research on, all right, who's really producing, who's not. And then going into that second half of the year, that's when they're going to really put who's on the field of, no more, we start the veterans because they're experienced. We're going to put the best players on the field. So I think this is where Luther Burden, there was concerns already about maturity and, I said it point blank period in the rookie video that there was a lot of people kissing his butt in Missouri, and there was a lot of growing up to do. And I think, well, all that's cool and all. I mean, now that we've seen what he could do, he could really fly. I mean, off that flea flicker, I mean, the guy was flying down the field. We saw a glimpse of his potential, and I think Ben Johnson in the second half of the year, he's going to use this guy. So Zacchaeus is a guy in front of him. I think he'll take him off the field and get his snap share, and that should produce a lot more efficiency. And look, as bad as Caleb's been, DJ Moore's been viable. Rome Odunze is like a top 5 receiver right now in fantasy, believe it or not. I could see Burden being a wide receiver 3 for sure when it comes to fantasy. So it's not sexy right now. You're not going to start Luther Burden right now, but get him now before you got to go bid your whole bankroll for him. Okay, that's the whole gist of this. We want to be ahead of this stuff. And rookies that were picked high on best ball that finally showed a little bit of a glimpse of their ability, this is where we got to go get them. This right here. Now that we saw a little peak, go attack it. I'm kind of feeling a little bit similar. I know they're not rookies, but, Juwan Johnson, I was high on him on best ball. We saw week 1 exactly what I thought he was going to be. We bid a lot for him. We got him, and he's exactly what I thought he'd be, and even more, if I'm being honest. Luther Burden, we saw occasional deep threat. We thought he'd be an occasional deep threat get him on plays where he could really run, maybe some occasional rushing here and there on some end rounds, which they try to work him in. I mean, they give him the ball, but you saw they're trying to work him in on some possible manufactured touches. And he was a guy that was handpicked by the regime, so you would think he's going to somewhat be involved. Even with this little sample size right here, it's just enough for me to sell him on a roster spot. Not the starting lineup, but just on the last roster spot of your bench, if you can get him, go get him, stash him, and wait a few weeks. I would wait the Vegas game, wait after the bye, and give it these 2 weeks after with Washington, New Orleans. And if you still see nothing, throw him back on the waivers. But I think by then you'll see a role for him. And I don't know, maybe Caleb is turning the corner. I'm not going to say he is because, look, Cowboys defense is just bad. There's really no other way to put it. When you give the quarterback 6 seconds to throw the football, what quarterback is not going to do well? He could literally look at all his reads again, and then make a decision on where to throw the football. If anything, Caleb, as good as his stats were, he was still missing throws, throwing balls in the dirt that were just like, really? But let's leave that alone because I don't want to make this a whole rant about Caleb. A couple other receivers we'll kind of round up, and then we'll move on to the tight ends and wrap the show up. First guy, guys, we got an IR spot out there. Stash Jalen Coker on the IR spot. We liked him a lot in the preseason. He could be the number 2 receiver on Carolina. They have no Sanders. They have no Leggett. They need a receiver too bad. This guy's going to come back week 5, I believe, maybe week 6, and he should hop right into a starting role. So if you have an IR spot out there, go grab him and just put him on your IR spot. Easy pickup. Another guy out there. Guys, if Tyjae Spears, where's he at? I know he's not a receiver, but where is he? Yep, there he is. 33% roster. Guys, if Tyjae Spears is out there just throw him on your IR spot. It doesn't make any sense to me why you guys let guys that are starter players, you could just easily stash them on your IR spot. No reason why you shouldn't be utilizing that. Utilize your IR spots properly, guys. Seriously. All right. Anyway, a couple more receivers. I can't believe I saw some waiver shows talking about Romeo Doubs. This should be at 100%. Guys, he's a starting receiver. Okay, I know it was an ugly game last week, but this is a starting player. No reason he should be on the waiver wire. No reason whatsoever. Inexcusable. Make sure he's on your roster. Let's see. Let me go to my list. Make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. All right, a couple guys out there. These guys aren't as roster. Number 1, we've already talked about it in preseason. 10% roster, Torrey Horton. Back-to-back games where he showed some potential. This week got boosted by a special teams touchdown, but showed that he could be on the field on a regular basis to some extent. You look at the depth chart for Seattle, he's basically the wide receiver 3. So, I mean, these guys, they got backups behind them. They're not going to be any sort of competition. He's probably not out there on 3 receiver sets, which is why the snap count's only 50%. But this is a starting receiver on a somewhat decent offense. I mean, granted, the past 2 matchups have been really beneficial to him, but Torrey Horton was a good player out of Colorado State. He got hurt in his final year, I believe, which is why he slid in the draft, and then also with a bad 40. But he's had solid production there. I mean, he wasn't a 5th-round player wherever he went. I thought he got drafted too late. So I don't know if you'd start him Thursday night versus Arizona, but take a look at him if he's out there. He probably should be out there in most leagues. And then one more guy we'll talk about as well. Now that he was out there in a lot of leagues floating around, but Christian Kirk, we saw that he's going to be a viable wide receiver 2 in the Texans offense. For fantasy, he's probably just a flex play at best, but 8 targets. I mean, as bad as this offense is, they need a slot receiver bad. I can see C.J. Stroud, targeting him and making him a guy. Even again, that offense, Houston's offense is so freaking bad. It's embarrassing. But that's pretty much it. One more guy we'll talk about. Forgot about him too. He'll probably only be relevant for the next couple of weeks. But Tyquan Thornton, 10% roster, but He's showing he could be a deep threat. I mean, that catch he made last week was outstanding, but he's a 4.2 guy, 4.2 speed. He's exactly what the Chiefs want in terms of their profile. Back-to-back games over 13 and 18 points. So there's some upside there. Probably only going to be viable these next few weeks until Rice comes back. But still, take a look at him because, you never know. A receiver that scores that many points in the Chiefs offense is someone you want. And that's looking at tight ends, man. I mean, there really ain't crap in tight ends that we didn't go over. One player, I'll give you one player. This is a deep sleeper. Arande Gadsden. Where's he at? There he is. Arande Gadsden on the Chargers. The problem is he's getting no snaps whatsoever. They have like 4 tight ends are rotating, but these are impressive numbers. To be on the field for 26% of snaps and they get 7 targets, that's very impressive. He got a target every other play he was on the field pretty much. I think after something like that, very good chance Herbert can go to Jim Harbaugh and say, hey, make sure Gadsden's on the field a lot more than he was last game and keep him on the field. This guy was a 5th-round pick from Syracuse. A little bit of a hybrid receiver build. Had some big-time receiver production at Syracuse. Big-time athlete. His dad was an NFL player. So this guy's got a good profile that we're looking for in tight ends. Athletic, fast, receiver build. That's exactly what you want for fantasy. And, look at the Chargers tight ends. Conklin's been around the block. Really ain't crap. Disley's been around the block. He ain't crap. Tucker Fisk, I don't even know who that is. So this is a guy that could really be a legit player. I don't know if it'll start as soon as next week, but it should. So I'm gonna throw $1 on him. If I don't get him, it's probably due to the fact that I have other guys I'm bringing in. But deep leagues, go get this guy immediately. 12-team leagues, throw $1. Maybe throw him as a backup, but there could be a 5% chance that this is like a breakout type of, just a rookie breakout out of nowhere. And a Chargers offense that you want pieces of. I mean, Justin Herbert's playing really freaking well right now. You want his receivers, and that tight end room is just full of veterans. And this guy has the highest potential. Probably a handpicked guy in some sense by Jim Harbaugh. I mean, this is just really like to have that many targets on that many snaps is really impressive. So take a look at Arande Gadsden. But there you guys have it. That's it for this week. Again, if you want to go, check out the Discord. $5 a month. Ask any question whatsoever. Waiver wires, trades, start sit advice. We got it all covered. We're building a community over there to get you guys right for the rest of the season and they make sure you win your league. So check it out. But until then, I will see you guys on the Friday show for the previews. Peace.